Alright, welcome back, Connor. We are going to get stuck into this one and we are going to try and get something done. This is sort of my last crack before holiday, so I want to get to a point where we're pretty happy with our render. And I think it's looking pretty impressive already, but these are a couple of things that I think we might appear quite advanced, but if you just follow it step by step through, I'm pretty confident that you'll get there in some sort of form. A couple of things we need to know about 3D scenes is that the number of faces that you have in your entire scene can really make it difficult for the computer to draw pictures, to draw everything. And when we talk about things like trees, we're talking about lots of faces. Every leaf is a face. And if you want your tree to look good and it has all those leaves, then you're going to have thousands of leaves. And if you don't want to just put one tree in, you want to have multiple trees because trees tend to grow all over the place. And in order to do that, you have to draw thousands of trees, possibly sometimes thousands of times over. We're not going to go that far, but it is possible to do with a couple of tricks. First of all, we have to I suppose, create a situation where the computer is using one model of a tree and replicating it many times. That way it doesn't fill out too much space if we have to model every single individual tree. You could imagine that it could take a very long time just to have 4 or 5 trees. But what we're going to have is we're going to have as many trees, I suppose, as we want, but they're going to be repeated trees and they're going to be part of what's called a particle system, and it's going to come out of our ground floor where all this sand is, the sandy layer. So let's start by having a look at what particle systems actually mean. And what I might do is I'm just going to open up another Blender file. And I'm going to show you something very quickly outside of our actual scene. And this is basically how particles work. Particles are instances, that is, repeated the same object over and over again. I'm just going to delete this. You don't have to do any of this. I'm just showing you something. I'm going to add a plane. I go Shift A to add planes, which generally, and I'm just going to put it in the middle. Add my cursor over the other side here. I'm going to scale it up with this. I don't have the key casts on, but it's on in the other file, so I'm just going to keep going like this. And I'm just going to move it. Look how far below that is. That was terrible. All right, there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a particle system to it. So in our control panel, we got our little sparklies over here. Just move that over a bit and you get that. And I'm going to hit new. And all these settings come up, which means all sorts of stuff. And we're going to get into some of them, but not many. We're not really going to get into many. And then I'm going to press play on my timeline. Now, this is an animation. And what do you see? Well, you see lots of little dots falling. And you've seen this before because we've mucked around a little bit with this in the class. Lots of little dots forming. And they fall and the timeline fills something up. And at the moment, this is sort of getting on towards how you would make smoke and fire and things like that. But I've made asteroid showers and things like that. You can do all sorts of stuff with these particles. We're going to go to a different type of particle. I'm going to change our type of particle from emitter to hair. And there you have hair. Now the hair is just a strand. It doesn't know what to draw, alright? It doesn't know, what do you want this hair to be? Well, I don't know, I'm just going to draw hair. But what you could imagine if we replaced every line here with a tree. What we would have is a very thick jungle. And it would be all over the place. and it would, in essence, not make much sense at all. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a hair particle system, replace our trees with that hair, but then we're going to tell it exactly where we want these trees to appear. So if this was our camera view and we were looking out to our horizon and we had our object here, we might just colour in and select a little bit of area here, a little bit of area here, and a little bit of area maybe along the fence line at the back, and put all our trees there, rather than right in front of us here. And then we just mess with the number of particles. So at the moment this is 1,000. Let's cut it down to say 200. And now we got more of a forest. But of course these are just all over the place. These aren't organised at all. So we're going to go through that process, and that's really the main point of today. So let's get to that. Let's close this one off. I don't need that. And I don't want this one over here. That was just my other screen. Alright, back to our scene. Let's, this was a good render. I'm going to save this. I'm going to go Image, Save as Image, and where do I want it? I want it in my tutorial folders, tutorial files, third render. Alright, good. It's a PNG file, which is good. I like PNGs. Easy to open, universal, no problems. Let's go to our scene, 3D view, out of UV editor mode. Here's our scene. We're still in edit mode on our Bezier curve. So we're going to go out of edit mode to object mode. We're going to right click our surface, and we are going to go into edit mode on this one. Edit mode. Alright. Now, first thing we might do is we might just add our particle system. Should I do that first, Mr. Sutherland? Yes. Yes, I think I will. Going to add our particle system. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm not going to do that just yet. I'm going to go out of here, out of edit mode here. Don't go into edit mode on the thing. Let's go to a new layer. Let's go get our trees. Now, our trees are going to be in a folder on your pen disk, on your USB. So I'm going to have there's going to be a folder in there, and there's going to be a whole lot of blend files. And we've done this before. This is how we got the dinosaur into a scene. We did amend. Now I'm just going to go Shift S and cursor to center. These are all our other layers. I should have pointed out, I clicked on this layer right here. This empty layer in between. That one there is good. And I'm going to go File, and I'm going to choose Append. Now, where did I put my trees? I believe my trees are in my tree model. You're going to have a tree model folder, and these are my trees. Now I can get a general idea of what they look like by clicking on those 4 squares there. And what I've put in here is just a selection of trees. I'm not sure why these are appearing orange. I think it's because I took the screenshot in edit mode. That's a nice tree though. These trees are also going to go inside our enclosure, but I won't put the same ones inside the enclosure as I put on the outside. Let's put the trees on the outside. So this looks like a tree, and that looks like a tree. Palm trees in the sand, can't go wrong with that. We'll have some palm cycads, as another palm tree here, as some ground cover. That's a big oak tree. The banana, I wasn't really happy with the banana. It was alright. That's a nice tree. It's just sort of plain. That's a nice tree. Let's just take a selection. Alright, let's just go into, double click on this one. Actually, I want this on the inside. Okay, I'm going to get this one. This one. Nicer palm. Palm, go in there. Now we get all of these groups. What do we want? We want groups. For all of the things that we've got, I've gone groups, and I called this one coconut tree. So in groups, We select it and then we link append. And what do you know? Oh, there's a tree there. I am not centered in. I'm going to press full stop on my keypad. There is a tree. Isn't she beautiful? I'm going to go to rendered view and show you what this looks like. That's what she looks like with no ground, and we got a sky texture. So yeah, that's a tree. Now it's a fairly simple sort of tree. There's not a lot of faces to it. This was a bit grey. I need to mess around with some of the surfaces and stuff, but it's generally alright, and it was, you know, it was an early model. Off in the background, it'll look the goods, I think. I'm not really happy with, yeah, that there. I might brown that up. I'm just going to go into the, you don't have to do this, material. I'm going to select the tree trunk. Now these are groups, and so, okay, so this is really interesting. I'm going to change the way I see all this stuff, because I've just put in, look at all this. Plant, 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 all of this stuff. These are all parts of my tree. Like I said, there's lots of parts to a tree, and I could combine them all together. In fact, maybe it's probably best that I do, but I just, for the moment, I'm going to select groups. Alright, all searches, and change that to groups. There's my coconut tree. Now if I want to select it, I just click on the whole thing. And do I hit join? Not just yet, not just yet. I'm just going to change the material. I'm going to select my trunk, alright? And I'm going to go to material, and this is a bark. I'm going to go use nodes, and I'm just going to brown it up a bit. So that's a light brown. I'm going to darken that one out there. Yeah, that's a bit better. I just prefer the brown, you know, a tree's brown, come on. And these ones down here, I'll just select those ones and we'll brown them up too. Just darken them a little bit. Alright, so they're going to be a bit darker. What's that in rendered mode? Let's have a look. Material. Dot material. Rendered. Yeah, could go a bit darker on these. Yeah, I think I will. That's it there, isn't it? I'll use nodes. And come around to a bit more redder and bring that down to a darker, a bit yellower. Shouldn't have even made dead leaves underneath it. It was just an idea. It's just one of those crazy ideas you have. Something like that. It's a bit too brown. Oh, for heaven's sake. I'll get over it. It'll be right. Alright, that'll be alright. That won't. Make it redder. Yeah, now I'm a bit happier. Okay. Good. Okay, let's go back to material mode and let's move. Let's choose our coconut tree. We're in groups here. Coconut tree, the whole thing selected. Green arrow over to the side. Cursor's in the center. Shift S cursor to center if it's not. And let's add another one. Let's go file, file, append, out of coconut tree, out of this level. There's our trees. Let's have a look at the pictures of them. That's the one we did do. Let's get this one. Group, stumpy bush. Open that one. Alright, let's have a look at this one. See, I'm actually thinking to myself that I made these in Blender render because they are not rendering. With the fact that there's no nodes involved, it's very, very suspicious. I got no textures there, but fair enough. I think I might have made these a while back. Okay, let's go have a look at these textures. See, use nodes. Colors are all wrong. Something's gone wrong. I've moved. So I had some from Blender render and I changed them, and that was silly of me. That is completely wrong. We need to darken all of these up. Let's go there. These are repeated. This is very, 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 very dodgy work from very early. It's been a long time since I've made a tree that I wanted close up. I have to show you how to make a proper tree. Since this time, I'm just keeping it simple. Anyway, what's that? Use nodes. I don't know. Anyway, might not have moved it in as well as I thought I did. Seems strange. I thought I saved them all correctly. I really want to put mix some bit of glossiness. Leaves have glossiness. I should mix some glossiness. I'm just going to do that very quickly. I'm going to try and change all these plants for you, but if I can't, maybe just put them in there and mess around with the colours on. If you select them, you're going to select here and get all their colours, and you'll be able to do stuff with it. If I just change this to node editor, and there's my picture, there's my thing. I'm just going to put don't want textures, want shaders, put a glossy in, put a mixed shader, drop it in the middle, drag that into there. I'm going to drag this right down, and not that far, so dark green, that's none. Yeah, about there. Alright, let me have a look at that in rendered mode. I know I'm not going to like it. And I was right, I don't like it. It's not green enough. Let's get some real green in there. And I still don't like it. But yeah, it's a bit better. It's alright from a distance. Nobody's going to notice. No one's going to care. Alright, good. Next thing, let's pull another one in. We'll go back to object mode. Sorry, not object mode. We're in object mode. There's our new group. We're adding groups. Oh good, it's just one object too. That's pretty handy. I was smart on that one. Let's add another one. File. Now the reason we're doing this is because we're only going to have one of each of these trees in there. So as we add them, we're not only just adding one, we're adding as many as we want. We're going up out of here, going to look at this, thinking that chances are these ones that are named Elm 1, they're going to be my most recent. But I feel like this one, I'm going to go group, tree plant, select it. No. Alright, that's the base. Something darker. Go yellow, but go dark, 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 dark. And for my leaves, use nodes. Put a bit of glossy, mix shader. Plug the mix into there, bring the glossy right down. We only want a little bit, we don't want the thing to glow. And that is way too big, so let's check tree plant up here. We got the whole thing. Oh, it's just one thing. Scalar in. There's a little plant like that is never going to be the same size as a as a palm tree. That's the word I'm after, palm tree. Why are they those green? No, I'm not going to get caught up with it. Alright, one more. Move off to the side. Let's go file. We'll get a tree this time. And this one I might have to do a bit of work with, but I'm only 18 minutes and I don't know how long this one's going to go for because we got to get it done. Link append. Out of here. Have a look at this from a distance. Elm? Where's group elm? There is no group elm. That just confirms Benjamina. Group. Basic plant, basic 1. Not sure what I saved. It wasn't that one, so basic 1 doesn't work. Append. Hold on. Basic plant doesn't work. Basic. There she is. Okay. That was basic 1. And it's got this I have sorted out. Good. Now look at this. Okay, this is going to drive you crazy. Look at the textures on that. See-through alpha texture with little leaves. This is going to be our main tree because this will look good up close. You'll be able to see straight through the leaves. It's a different way of making a plant that I can show you, but let's just go into rendered view, and that's the sort of thing you get. It has a genuinely hard time dealing with drawing these things because there's so many of them. But I think that's a nice plant. It's a nice tree. It's going to be repeated many times, but hopefully I might put some rotation on it. I'm going to try to. We may have to work with them a bit, but that's okay. Good. Alright, back to material view. Now here's the interesting thing. If I have these plants here, I'm just going to select coconut tree and I'm going to click on join. Active object is not a selected mesh. I want that. And I'm going to shift click on some leaves and click join. And then I'm going to click that leaf and the bottom one and go join. And I'm going to select there and go join. Now I'm just going to try and select as much as I can and select join. How many am I down to? I'm watching this one here, so if I go that and that and that, join, no, that, join, yeah, and that, join. There's different ways of selecting. Now they're all just single objects, and now I'm happy. Good. In object mode, you've got to do that in object mode. There was lots of parts to that, so you just select each one, go click, and over to join. If it gives you trouble up here, just try selecting different ones. Now we need to do a bit of some work with that. We don't need this anymore. Let's close this up. Join area, that one please. What we need to do is we need to stop the computer from drawing all these faces. There's just too many and the computer won't cope. It will have a huge time trying to make this a hair and this a hair and this a hair. Thousands of these, huge drama. But we can get around this by selecting this object and changing the way the computer draws it. We're going to go over here to a panel we don't use often, the cube panel. Now this is the object data. This is how we, you can add it to groups. If we're going to do this eventually, we're going to make a group of all these trees, but for the moment, if we want to make this a part of a different group, the group we've already made, we could do it here. We're not after that though. We're after this display. We're going to change the way the computer displays this plant, and we're going to choose bounds. And just a moment. No, we're not going to choose bounds there. We're going to choose maximum draw type bounds. And there we just turned it into a cube. So the computer now isn't drawing all of these faces and leaves and dealing with the textures and all that stuff. It's just drawing a cube. One cube. 6 faces as far as it's concerned. When it goes to render, it will do something completely different. But at the moment, this is what it's going to do. So let's select this plant here. Now, I haven't got that selected. It's just one object. I know that because it's got that little one right there. And let's go draw maximum draw type bounds. This one, maximum draw type bounds, and this one, maximum draw type bounds. So what have we done so far? We've imported all these trees. We've turned them into one object, and that was kind of very important with that big tree. So have a look at the ones that I bring in, because I won't get a lot of time to fix up trees and things like that. But do the best you can. I mean, by now you've got an awesome scene anyway, and I think that this is just icing on the cake. But it's nice icing, so we put it on the cake. All right. Now, we've got all these trees, right? They don't look like trees, but they are. I'm going to shift click on all of them, just on the little green lines. And there I have my selection of trees. And it doesn't really matter where they are at the moment, they're just in this on this layer. I am going to go, what am I going to do? First of all, I am going to turn them into a group, because when we do our hair, we're not going to say draw this tree or this tree or this tree or this tree. We're going to say draw this group and do it randomly, because trees are random. So object, and I'm pretty sure here's group, create new group, and it's Control G. So you can just Control G, and when you do Control G, and I'm going to do it this way under object group and that, I get this down here. So I don't select anywhere, otherwise I'll lose it. I'm going to change the name of this group to trees. Yes, trees. That's what I'm changing it to. Press enter, and I've got a new set here, and it's trees, and there are 4 objects in there, which I'm absolutely stoked about because it's really important. So let's go back to our scene, our ground plane. Actually, let's put our scene together again. Let's use our ground plane, hold down shift, press the second layer, that gets that in, hold down shift, press the third layer, and skip this layer with our trees, but hold down shift and click the fence layer. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, with 1 mixing in the middle. Now we want our trees to be behind our camera. Our camera points in that direction, and so we're going to want them maybe out here in this space or round the back. We might put some in front, but I think it's risky because they're not that high quality trees. We don't want to get all detailed with the trees. Anything to hide these bricks though, because these bricks, oh my god, I need to do something about that. Not much, just a little bit. I'd like to do it now, but we've been going for half an hour and I'm trying to get this in under an hour. I hope that's okay. Anyway, let's add a particle system to our ground plane. This is our ground plane. Right click on ground plane, over to particles, click on particles, go new. We don't want this emitter, that's the emitter that makes all the little bits fall out from underneath. We want the hair emitter. Hair. There's our hair. At the moment, it's everywhere, fair enough. It might be interesting to see what this looks like if we were to render with trees everywhere. They're also very evenly scattered, with even-ish, you know, trees just don't work like this. You'll get brush along your fence line or something like that, but in and around here you probably wouldn't have many trees because people walk around here and people would stand on any tree that's going to grow. So there's no point in having trees there. But next thing we want to do is tell it, alright, where do we want the trees? Make sense? Yes, I think it does. No, it doesn't. Well, the next thing is tell it, instead of hair, give us trees. So let's do that. We're in particle system, we may as well do it. As we go down here, we're going to see lots of stuff. And one of the things we're going to see is this one here, render. Now, that rings a bell because that's where we tell the trees what the particle system, what do you want me to render? At the moment, I'm rendering straight lines and there's going to be no faces there at all. So what do you want me to render? Well, we want you to render either a single object many times, or at the moment it's a path, which is just like our spline here. We want a group. And there we got duplicate group just popped in underneath it. So let's click on that and choose our trees. These are all our groups. They're just the other plants. Let's choose trees. Okie dokie. What do we get? We get a whole lot of cubes. This is not going to do it all because we don't have, first of all, they're appearing in the middle of the thing and I'm a bit worried about that. So we need to change some of the settings. Let's use advanced. Underneath hair, we'll click advanced. Gives us more options. And do I want hair dynamics? I'm not sure. No, I don't want hair dynamics. Do I want... Which one do I want to change? I want to change, is it rotation? I think it is. Let's click on rotation. We want rotation. And let's choose a different rotation. Let's go global X. Now I think what happened there was it popped up to the top. Now I was in rotation in my particles. I've clicked on the checkbox rotation and I changed this thing to global X and it looks like that. Now I'm going to change them to global Y and it looks like that. Now they're too small, so up here actually, is that where I want my size? Let's just have a look. Hair length isn't changing much, I don't think. Yes, it is. It's changing an awful lot. No, hair length can only go to 10. I'm going back to 4. Don't change hair length. That's not what we want. Is it normal? Yes, it is. Look at the normal. Change the normal, Mr. Sutherland. Right. Now, let's have a look at this. Let's go here. This could take a while to render, so I am going to pause the video and I am going to go back to my camera and I'm going to click on render. But I'm going to pause video just for a moment. See you soon. Alright, so here's my render. And as you can see, I'm not really happy with the angle on these ones. I want to look at that. But as you can see, it's put a scattering of plants all over the front of our scene in front of our camera, and they are everywhere. They're way off to the side over here, and they're all over here. If I go back to 3D view and have a look around, you know, nobody's looking at all of these. Nobody's looking at all of these. But I would like to confirm that in our particle settings, underneath rotation, checked rotation, global Y is the one we want. And if I change the random, that's going to cause problems. See, global X, I want global Y. I'm going global Y. Anyway, global Z? No, definitely not global Z. Definitely global Y. Yes, we're happy. Alright, so local Y, object Y, rotation, no, global, just leave it alone, Mr. Sutherland. Alright, so our camera's pointing this way. We have the option. Do we want to put our trees here? Now we could put a particle system on a little cube and make the cube invisible and put it there, but there are ways that we can paint where we want our tree. Now this is where we're going to get quite complex, so I'm just going to give you the opportunity. If I were you, I would take a break at the moment, come back, alright, press pause, get yourself a drink, come back, and we'll get stuck into this one. We're also going to change the size. Alright, I'm going to keep going through though, because I've got to get this done. Alright, hair length, no, I want my normal. I want to change, I want random normal. If I go random here, this is in my velocity. Weird, isn't it? Velocity, speed, but this is what we're talking about. We've even got some popping up in here that we don't want at the moment. We're going to add a whole new particle system to this area here and just make it the trees we want. I'm going to put a decent tree inside that folder. I didn't think to open them and find out if they'd work. Anyway, let's go there. And what we're going to do is, actually not down in there, that was number 0. We need to select our base with our particle system, and we need to subdivide it because we're going to fill this surface with vertexes. We are going to select the vertexes that we want trees to come out of. So we're going to have lots of vertexes around here, and this is called a vertex group. Also noticing that I think this could go further. I could extend that out later. Maybe I should do that now. What do? I select the fence, I go modifiers, and yeah, I want that over there, thank you. Have that go off the edge. What's that look like? Yes, much better. Okay, I'm going to subdivide my surface. I right click on my surface down here. I've got it because it's orange. Sometimes hard to see when you're just working with one face. And I'm going to go into edit mode, tab into edit mode, and I'm going to go tools. Where's subdivide? Subdivide. This one. I think we've done this before. Anyway, let's click it. It's cut it down that way and that way only once, and I've only got one extra, two, three, couple of extra vertexes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 extra vertexes in this one here. I want more cuts. So I'm going to select here where it says subdivide number of cuts and type in 50. Now I've got a few more vertexes. Still not enough though. Let's go 75. Yeah, alright, I'll give that a go. That'll be alright. I'm looking at the number of cuts I've got because I want lots of vertexes to work with. I'm going to do the best I can with what I've got. Anyway, let's have a look at our particle system. Where's it coming out of? It's coming out of faces, so that's okay. That's good. Alright, good. I'm happy. Next. Also make sure random and even distribution tick boxes. Keep jittered. Don't change that. Next is we need to make a vertex group. So in order to do that, I'm going to go into camera mode. Now the places that I want the trees are going to be in my camera view. I'm not going to want trees out here, outside, anywhere. I don't want them. There's no point in them. Nobody will ever see them. Maybe if I zoom my camera out, they might become important. That might not be a bad idea. I'm going to zoom my camera out a bit. You should do this. This will be a good idea. I'm going to go here, open up this little panel in 3D viewport, and go lock to camera, and just scroll out. Yeah, it's alright. About there. Now select unselect that. Let's go in there. Alright, so I've got some space for trees here and trees there and some space out the back, and that'd be nice. So, how do we do this? How do we select groups? Over here, we have another little panel. Right next to the material, in between the spinner and the material and the spanner, is this little triangle. Click on that one. And here we have vertex groups. And this is where we're going to add vertex groups. And then we're going to tell the particle system to only make particles for this vertex group. So let's add a vertex group. And let's call it trees. Alright, all those little spots, that means vertex group. How do we add vertexes to that group, I hear you ask? Well, this is how it's done. Instead of edit mode, we have got vertex or weight paint mode. Could be vertex paint. Weight paint. Yes, this is it. This is weight paint mode. Everything on our surface went blue. We had to have this selected. It went blue. And now we are going to paint with weight. I'm going to show you something here. This has changed as well. We it's like using Paint Shop or Paint Shop Pro, where you have different brushes. If you click on this picture, we've got add, we've got blur, we've got brush, we've got darken, we've got draw, we've got lighten, we've got mix and multiply and subtract. All we want are add and subtract, because this will add vertexes, this will subtract them. If we paint something we don't want, we subtract it. At the moment, we're on brush. I want add. And now I'm going to just run my brush over it. Could have done a few more subdivides. Don't worry about it at the moment. So here I am painting on here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, we got lots of options here. I'm going to see this strength one here. I'm going to move that up because this is not powerful enough. We're changing from blue to red. Blue is not selected, red is selected, and now that I've increased my strength, I got a lot more strength to work with. And I'm just painting only where I can see in this camera view. So if you're not in camera view, press 0 on the number keypad. See how I've just painted? This is where the camera is. I've just gone the sides. Now I can see, alright, the camera can see here. That's 0. And now I can middle mouse button and zoom out. And here I am from that painting. Now I probably don't want to row many over here. This seems a bit of a waste. That's a long way away. So I'm going to change my brush to subtract, and I'm going to remove all of that. I need it to be strengthened. Subtract is not currently strengthened, but I can see the lines. I don't want anything out here. Nothing out here, unless I'm going to move my camera later, which I probably will. We'll do some stuff maybe after the holidays with how we can really show off our scene. But what I want them is here, in around here. Most of this is going to get blocked by the tower, so mainly in around here. I think I'll change back to add and really red this up because that's where the most trees will be. Where you see the red, that's where you get the most. I'll put some around here, and I think I might subtract. Oh, I don't like this red. I don't want to risk having a tree so close. I'll give it a go. Anyway, we'll see what happens, and we'll just give it a little blotch there. All right, that's good. Let's go back in here. Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. See, I just did that and put all that there. So this is where we're going to have our trees, and it looks really organic. I think that it's going to look great. Let's go out of weight paint mode into, we could go into object mode. And in object mode, because we've got our base selected, we're going to go to our particle system. And in our particle system, we have to go to something like density, display, nope, vertex groups. Check it out. It says it, vertex groups. We're in particles and vertex groups underneath force field settings. You wait till we start using force fields. Here, underneath, we press on the little triangle, we've got density. Now this is the only one I've ever used in here. It took me a long time to find it, but it's there. Let's click on that. We've only got one vertex group because we've only made one. We call it trees. Let's click on trees. And there you see it. The trees are now clumped in around the place that we said. Now I didn't put it in the middle because I know that it's going to get blocked by the tower. Let's go in there. Now I'm going to press pause. We've got a big tree right in front of us. That's so risky for us if it doesn't work out because we didn't spend a lot of time on our trees. I'm just going to press pause. I'm going to render it. Let's see what happens. Alright, as you can see, we've got our trees in. Couple of things that I'd like to talk about. First of all, repetition. We haven't managed to rotate these, and I'm going to have to go back and have a look at my settings and how to rotate. I do know how to do it. I've done it in previous scenes, but remembering which one of these ones does it for me in particle settings here, very difficult. Another thing, what I'm noticing is these little ground plants here, you'd expect to see a lot of those, and those ones I think are called the stumpy bush. Alright? The basic one plants, those ones there, they're these big trees, and the palm trees, I wish that they were bigger. The coconut trees, sorry, they're called coconut trees there. I think they need to be bigger. Tree plant, kinda, but also numbers. So one of the things that we can do is when we're looking at here, our group is trees. We've got use object scale for duplication. I'm just going to get out of this back into 3D view so I can see any changes I make. Do I use it for scale? See, that seems to be excessive. I'm going to use scale. Rotation, use objects rotation to do. Okay, that's a rotation. I might want to keep that, I think. Global uses object global coordinates for duplication. No, I don't want that. But here I have use count. Now I'm going to select that, and this is what you see. You see our plants, and I'm not sure which. There's our palm. That is our, I think that's our basic. No, Benjamina is our basic. Yes, so I don't want many of them. I think I want more of these. The Dipsis. So I'm going to select it and press plus. I'm going to have another one, actually. I've got to get this up, don't I? Count. Sorry, don't press plus. I'm going to press minus. And on Dipsis, the count goes up. So I'm making more of those. Substantially more. There is 12 of those to every one of everything else. Now my palms, I think I'm going to make them a bit more. I don't like having those trees in close, so I'm going to go with that. That gives me a big tree out there and a big tree out there, but not many of them. And what was the other one? I'm pretty sure it's this one. Yes. Now, what does that do for us, I wonder? Well, if I just... They're very small. They're looking small. I'm going to make them bigger. Normal. Make them a bit bigger. I don't want them that big though. It's really annoying me that we can't see that. I'm actually going to go back to weight paint mode. Object, weight paint mode. I'm going to subtract from this side a little bit. Get rid of some of them. See, watch them disappear because I want to see more of the fence. The fence is so much work for us. I want a clear line of vision. I'm going to cut a hole through to that fence by subtracting. And I'll put some more over here. I'll add some over here. I don't need much over here. There you go, add. See how easy it is to paint in when you want trees. Just go to weight paint, select the surface you want, weight paint mode, and we can do all sorts of things. We can add other particle systems. We could have chosen every plant individually and painted where we wanted that plant. We could have, in fact, that's not a bad idea. Let's grab one of those plants and just paint along the back of this fence. Actually, no, let's just do another render. I'm going to pause and I'm going to do another render. Wait on, before I do that, I'll show you how to get back out of here. Let's go object mode and camera view, zoom in. See, I still got this big one here. Hopefully that's a palm, because the palm didn't look too bad. I'll press pause. Okay, this looks better. I think this looks better, but, and yours will look different because every particle system's completely random. Yours, you could press render and say to yourself, well, I have finished. That is awesome. Although we need dinosaurs. But for me, I think it's risky that we have plants too close to our camera. If we look underneath here, this looks replicated. They look very similar to each other. We put so much work into this structure here, and I think that it would be wasted if we were to put too many plants too close. So I'm going to go back to 3D view. I'm going to go into weight paint and I'm going to subtract up here, and I'm going to get rid of that and get rid of them. That can go. I'm just pushing the whole lot back. I don't need anything there. Subtract from there. And that's going to make me happy. That's going to free up the whole thing. If we want to put some trees in there, great, you know. We could put another particle system in, make another vertex group, put some of those little plants in or something like that. That's an idea. Why don't we do that? When we'll take some of them up. There's the little plants that I just don't. What's Stumpy Bush look like? I'm just going to bring my plants in. No, I can't do that. I'm going to jump over to my plant layer. So I'm down here, jumping into my plant layer. I can't remember which one it was. I just need to. I'm just going to pause here and find out which. Okay, I just went into object mode there and found out that it's tree plant. Looks like a bit of a fern tree plant. So I'm going to put another particle system in. Now don't feel you have to do this. Sometimes I cannot help myself. So I'm going to go object mode. I'm going to bring my scene back. First scene, first layer, second layer, third layer, skip a layer, and that layer. With shift held in, I did all of that. Let's go camera view. And this is where I'm just going to put some ferns down here and some ferns down here. So, with my base selected, right click on my base. I'm still in weight paint mode. I'm going to go object mode. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to go particle system, and I'm going to call this group trees. I'm going to T there. Group trees. That's the first one. Change particles 1 or whatever it said there to group trees. Press enter. Now I'm going to make another one, and I call this ferns. Alright, good. Ferns. Enter. Now I'm going to replica. No, I'm just going to go hair, emitter, hair. It's good to go advanced. I'm not going to go 1,000. I'm going to go about 500 for this one. The other one was 1,000. You can mess around with your numbers. That's a big deal. That you watch out for that though. Don't go too nuts. This is already enough. We'll deal with the normals later. What do we want it to be? We want it to be an object, not a group this time. Which object would you like it to be? Well, we got a lot to choose from. So, what do we got? See, now it starts calling it something else. Wasn't that? I cannot remember. Where's that one? Not sure. It's pretty small. We need to change. Alright, rotation goes on. And global Y. And we need a new vertex group on our object. So let's go to our triangle. Under vertex groups, we don't change trees. We might lock trees. No, leave it unlocked. I don't know what that does. Group. And call this ferns. And let's, with it selected, ferns selected, let's go into weight paint mode. Weight paint. And am I on, yes, I'm on subtract. I want add. That's gonna, why isn't that adding, Mr. Sutherland? The strength is enough. This is interesting. None. That's what I want. I want add. Oh, now it does it. That's odd. Why is it doing that, I wonder? Probably because we didn't subdivide enough. I bet you if I did another subdivision, I'm going to go object mode, and I am going to go into edit mode on with my base selected, edit, and I'm going to press subdivide once more. Yes, a bit smaller. I'm happy with that. Let's go back into weight paint. And that's better. That's better. So I didn't have enough subdivisions in there. You need lots of subdivisions. Nothing we can do about all those faces. Alright, so that's that. That might frame it nicely or something like that. Let's go to our particle system. This is, make sure it's the right particle. Yep, ferns. Where would you like all these particles? In vertex groups. We want ferns. And let's have a look. Alright, we certainly don't want all these out here. So when we were drawing in camera mode, just so we didn't draw outside our shot, we did that. Now let's subtract some. Subtract. All of those ones are not required. And because we've only got 500, if we have them stretched all the way about the back there, I'm not even sure we need all this ground here, but it's there anyway, so I don't mind. If they're so small, why would you have them right out the back where you can't see them? We can't see many of them. I got random on. Not sure if that's random. Yeah. Seems very organized in there. Anyway, let's have a look. I'm going to press pause because we're almost done. Okay, I did a render. I was really upset because I had them in front of the camera and I didn't want that. I'm subtracting. I got this on subtract. That was a quick stop because I know that it goes for so long and I know that I talk too much. Alright, I'm just getting out of the front of the camera. I don't want any of you. Go away. Go away. This was a bad idea, wasn't it? Alright. They're just so ordered. And also, that's the wrong plan. I need to go down to my object. I don't want that. I think I want that one. And I'm going to crank up the normal on it, make them bigger, because they were tiny, when I rendered them, they were tiny miniature, what do you call it? Use your words, Mr. Sutherland. They were tiny miniature palm trees. So here I am in velocity. I cranked up my normal. I'm going to do random. I'm going to have lots of random. And I'm going to press pause and render again. Okay, so I've coloured it in and I've deleted it, I've subtracted, I've done all that stuff, and I'm still not happy with the repetition. Trees. I got the wrong trees. They were old trees. I found the trees I needed, but I'm going to have to make some changes to them because they're just too big. But this isn't too bad. I mean, it's these little white dots. I need to change these trees. But obviously, you can go forever with these things. These are constant projects that you could always, I don't know, improve on things. We got to put spotlights up on this thing and do all sorts of crazy stuff. I know that originally there was a big box over here. We put stuff together, but what you've done here is you've really gone through all the layers, and I'm sorry about this last tutorial because I rushed it terribly. I was just like these vertex groups. This is really advanced stuff, and vertex groups there, and two particle systems on one object. There's so much there. And you can see our glass here. It's starting to reflect the trees around it, or maybe that's just looking straight through the glass. I think that's just looking straight through the glass. Well, we've got these giant fence out the back here, and of course we're missing our dinosaurs. And I can't remember what I did with the dinosaurs. If I have a look in my... where do I want to go? I just want to jump to... this is tutorial files. Let's go Blender. Dino. No, I didn't store it in there. Just let me pause and find where I put... Alright, Sorry about that. I jumped off quick. I was just looking for my dinosaur, and for some reason when I searched it, it didn't find it, but I didn't call it dinosaur, I called it Dramiosaur or something like that. Just a little lesson in sloppy naming of items. Okay, this was my last render. I think that I will get I like saving my renders, save as image. It's nice to see how things develop over time. So I'll just save them first, second, third, fourth, and then I know how they develop, and you can watch your story of your scene appear. So here we go. Let's go back out of here into 3D view mode. I think we might get out of weight paint. We don't need that. I'm reasonably happy with the plants, but I'm going to try and cover them up with dinosaurs now. Let's go to a new layer. Let's pick, see this layer here just underneath our main layer. That's got that item there, and I'm going to right click on that and go X delete and get rid of it. That was our first tutorial too. I've got a copy of it. That's alright. That's the first tutorial, and haven't we come a long way since then? Let's add a dinosaur just like we did at school. We got File, Append, just like we did for the trees, but we don't want our trees. Let's get out of trees, and I've put a little file of there's the Dramio. I went too far. One click gets you in. Do I have groups? No, I don't, because I'm in the wrong one. Object, scene, material. No, I've got the wrong copy. Alright, I'm going to jump over to my models where I found it before. There's models, there's that. And that's Dramiosaur 4 is what I wanted. Silly, I put 3 in the thing. And there's group. And I put all this stuff in as well. Why don't I have a group? Gonna press pause, gotta make a group. Okay, got that worked out pretty quick. Went back, opened up the dinosaur file, select all the elements of the dinosaur, made a new group, called it Dino. Now I'm over here back in my mode. I'm on that empty layer that I just made. I go File, Append, out of here because I don't want this. I am looking for my dinosaur, and it does not have my group. I do not understand this. Maybe cancel that. Okay, hi Connor. It's been a while, and I had to discover something. I had to learn something before I was going to be able to do this. And what I had to learn was I needed, for some reason, with the dinosaur file, I had made it a packed file, and that was to get it to school. But what I wanted to do was stop packing it and make all paths. I wanted to unlink. First of all, I wanted to unselect that one. I'm not at the moment because I want for this file to be packed. I was going to unlink them, and then I was going to unpack all into files. So it was going to take all the files that are embedded in this Blender file and put them all in another, what would you call it? File. Yes. But in the end, all I had to do was go File, Append, and then inside my ended up making the dinosaur file here 5, went in there, and then I had group, and then I had the Dino 001, etc. So I'm going to cancel that, and there's my dinosaur. He is way below the ground plane, but we haven't sized him in relation to our scene yet anyway. So here's an interesting thing. At school, we had no end of dramas with this dinosaur because it's all of these parts. We can select. See, it becomes very messy when we start putting these ones together because there's parts attached to the bones, and it's a troublemaker. It is a genuine troublemaker. This is one piece. These aren't one piece, and I'd have to join pieces, but I don't trust it at this stage. I'm just going to do the best I can with it, and I need to fix it up at another time because I tried a little bit just then, and okay, things get a bit messed up. But let's go AA and select everything, and let's put our scene back together with this one selected as well. Now we're going to have the dinosaur in there. We're going to duplicate him. We're going to have a couple. We're going to go our main scene. That's our ground plane, and now we can see where we have to bring him up. So we've selected our dinosaur up here. We don't select just the bones, because then we'll go like this, and he leaves his bones behind. Right click to get it snapped back. I click dino up here, and if you don't have it, go to check your groups here. I'm going to work out how I'm going to get this dinosaur to you at home now that I've unpacked files and all sorts of things. I'm going to do the best I can, and if it doesn't work out, I'm really sorry, but it's one of those things that I suppose, it will work out, because you can go to the final file. Go to the final file. I'm gonna put the final file in there. All right. I want you to do it though. Like, you gotta do the tutorial, but I'm going to put the final file in there, and you can append from this last file. Alright, I'll keep going. Alright, I am going to... What am I going to do? Bring the rest of my scene in. I got these two layers, hold down shift, I want that layer, I want the third across, and I want the last in that box. I don't want that one, that's my trees. So, where's our dinosaur? He is sitting over there. There's our camera, right there. There are all our trees. Let's move our dinosaur out that way. Let's rotate our dinosaur this way. Again, all of dinosaur added there. Selected in groups. I'm going to change him to capital D, Dino. S-A-U-R. Dinosaur. Let's have a look at how big he looks. Okay, he's sitting sort of, where is he? He's off behind there. I'm not upset with that. Let's duplicate. And what does that do? So, okay, that's just done that. Interesting. Alright, I've duplicated. I'm going to... I'm going to move him. I'm not going to let him snap back though. I'm going to go left click. Now, I have this, and they are all part of one group. So if I select that dinosaur, I'm going to be selecting all of this. I'm being very careful not to touch anything. What I need to do is I need to remove this from the group it's in and add it to a new group. So let's go Object, up to, I've never done this before by the way, but there's Group, remove from Group, here, Dinosaur, yes, I want to remove from Group Dinosaur, and now I'm going to add it to a new group. Object, Group, create new group. Excellent. Here's where I create my new group. I'm going to call it Dinosaur 2. No spaces. Trees 001. There's a group called Trees 001. I don't understand why there would be a group called Trees 001. Maybe Maybe it thought that's what I wanted to call my dinosaur trees. And let's do the same again. Let's put a couple of dinosaurs in here. Let's go Shift D for duplicate. You can use the button over on the right hand side. I am going to confirm that move and let it sit there. I am going to remove it from its group. Object, remove from group. Group, remove from group. Dinosaur 2. And object, group, create group, wants to call it dinosaur 2 like the last group. Just going to change that to dinosaur 3. So you see the system. We select this one here, select group, got to select all of him. If it doesn't go with the bones, Control Z, get rid of it. Need the bones to really work this scene. Alright, let's have a look. Alright, dinosaur 3, selecting up here, move panel, move tool. Dinosaur 3, you are going too far away that way. I want you closer to camera. Ah! Where did he go? I made him disappear. I made him go really low. Look how far low he is. I'm going to Control Z. There we go. Control Z. That's the best move ever. I can't believe that there was a day when you couldn't undo on the computers, and I don't understand how people manage to do anything. Alright, there's our dinosaur. His legs are in our round. Let's bring him up. Let's pop him right there. I'm going to also pose these guys. Oh, what's that? That's dinosaur 1. I'm going to get dinosaur 1. I'm going to rotate him around. Don't want them all facing the same direction. I'm going to go here. I'm going to move him. He can be off in the trees maybe, but not straight on. Nothing ever comes straight on to you like that. Let's just, how can I rotate like that? That looks pretty good. He's dinosaur 3. I'm going to move him. Yeah. It's also interesting, dinosaurs wouldn't be all the same size, so I'm going to scale this one down a bit, move him down to the ground, just so his feet start to disappear into the ground, and then I'll set that up there. It kinda works for us. Yeah, it's alright. Now let's look at these bone structures. Let's get in on our dinosaurs. That is my bone structure. And then I change to pose mode. And then I select that bone there. You were doing this yourself without any work from me. I just rotate one bone at a time. We got the mouth bone here. I can show you how to do all this, and I can also show you how to animate it, but so far we've got to really call it. Oh, that was a silly move to do. I still want the curve in my tail. Don't lose my curve. And let's move this foot forward. Not that far. Control Z back. Thank you. Just going to lift this one up and forward. That's a bit better, because you don't want to stretch it out. I don't want it to look like the dinosaur's dancing. Rotate and move. I'm going to rotate that one up there a bit. He's looking that direction. Alright. I'm going to get this one. I've got to get in on the bones. Going to decimal point on a number pad. Look at that. 1 hour and 13 minutes. I think this is our longest now, mate. Pose mode. No. I want those bones. And I go pose mode. It's only when you've got bones selected that you've got pose mode. So if you ever can't find pose mode, it's because you don't have any bones selected. I think I need to move this one though. I need to rotate it. Just can't work out how did I rig this to work. There we go. That closes the mouth. And rotate this one down a bit. He is very low. What's he? He is Dinosaur 2 because he's all bright there. Dinosaur 2, you are far too low. You need to come up. Ah! I want out of pose mode, into object mode, Dinosaur 2, grab him from up there and lift him out. There you go, Dinosaur 2. And finally, Dinosaur 3, you're going to look towards the camera. There we go. Select his skeleton pose mode. Select that bone there. And I'm just selecting bones at random. I know that the head will follow the neck, and the bottom lip will make it close, and that will make it open, and I can bring the tongue up with move. See, the move will rotate either way we get there. Let's rotate this one up a bit and this one up a bit. It'll be very smooth because it's all in inverse kinesthetically organized. That can come up there, and I'm going to lift this leg just slightly, lift it up, move it forward a bit. Not that high. You gotta work with walking cycles. He looks like he's dancing. I don't like it when they look like they're dancing and his mouth's wide open. And I think we're done at 1:15. So, this has been great fun. I hope that I haven't gone too far in the end. I did rush it in these last couple of days just to get to the end here. I'm fairly confident that we've done a fantastic job of this, Connor. I am going to very quickly pause this and render, and I shall see you in the very near future to have a look at how it went. Alright, I'll see you soon. Alright, Connor, I've done some renders. I jumped back in and I went back into 3D view, and I moved my camera up a bit. I just selected lock to, went to camera view, 0 on the number pad. I went to locked up camera. I moved it around and I adjusted. I looked out that way and took a render. I looked out that way and took a render. I also changed my render seams. Remember I told you this was on 50%? We were just getting a little 50, was it? Yeah, well, 50%. I cranked it up to 100. Now, when I cranked it up to 100, this is an interesting change. My render time for the total picture at 50% was about a minute. And when I took it to 100%, it went to 5 minutes. So you can imagine if we were animating every single 200, this is 10 seconds of time here, 250 frames, 5 minutes a render. You are rendering for a long time to get that. That all adds up. Also, I'm on GPU compute here. I'm in the render tab and I'm on GPU. You're probably on CPU. It'll take a little longer, but I think you should stay on CPU because GPU, if it's there, can be a problem. I need to talk to someone. We'll work out what's going to happen with that, whether or not that's a good option for you. You can test it out. Blender's pretty stable. If the computer is on, it's got, and I'm assuming it would, pretty good graphics card, then GPU compute shouldn't be a problem. But if it's not there, there's some settings we have to change. We'll deal with that later. Anyway, so this is, we'll go back to my final render in UV editor picture mode. Where is it? Now I can't see it. There it is, UV and image editor. Alright, so that's a pretty good final scene, and I think, you know, we could do so much more. We could go back into our fence and add some more stuff to our fence. I think the original fence had all sorts of stuff underneath. There were trees in here, so we could put another little particle system, just about maybe 20 or 30. And when we go into the particle settings of that one, we'd put 20 or 30 plants in there and just cram them in, and it'll look bushy in there, and that'd be like the original. But, you know, what's the story here? This is dinosaurs have escaped and they're roaming the countryside and everybody's cleared out and they've taken the trees with them. But it's a pretty good scene. It's got some nice shadows, they're not too hard. Got some windows there, we got the trees poking through the fence line. It's pretty nice, and I want to compare it. I thought just for this final wrap up I'd compare with one of my early renders, and I'll show you a similar sort of project I did. This one was my similar sort of project, and I just made a castle and I made my ground rounded, and I can show you in another tutorial that one. That is very simple to do, but it was just another thing to add, and I thought time's getting away from us. And then I put the same tree over and over again, and the same little planty thing here. It didn't really work out, but I was happy with it at the time, and I'm sure that whatever you've done will look fantastic, because your first render is always I don't know, it's just a nice time, you know, when you're discovering all these new things and you're practicing. So I hope you've enjoyed it. It has been absolutely fantastic for me to do. I've really enjoyed it. I'm just clicking on some of the other stuff, you know, that I thought that if I have a look, we'll have a look at what we've done here. This is my OneNote for this one, and we started all the way up here with loop cut extrude and that object we got rid of. And since then we've done array modifiers, we've done bevel, loop cuts, we've done curve modifiers, we've done modeling of the tower and the solidify modifier, we've done some advanced extrusions. That's where we extruded, let it flick back and then scaled rather than moved. Remember we talked about the normals and the globals when we're trying to move in the right direction, our arrows didn't go in the right direction. Lots of other stuff in there. We converted from a curve to a mesh. Now that was a crazy idea. I don't know how that's going to go down. I'm really worried about that one. I think it was a bit too much, a bit too early. We should have just gone cylinders, make a fence. It wouldn't have been a problem. Joining two objects into one, pressing the old join so that we could have all of our parts in the same object when we put our girders onto the top of our enclosure. And then this was very recent, adding textures. We started on textures, we made the bricks, we made the concrete, shaders, we made the metal. What else did we do? We made the metal, the two metals really is all we really used there. And then we were here with more textures and selecting faces using textures. That was tonight. And then we did shaping the fence and fixing the bricks. That was something I had to do. And this is where the final video will go. There's our tree models and our textures, and there's our dinosaur that I need to do some work on if it's going to work. But you've got dinosaurs in your scene, so you've got one that works, and I'll work out what's happening tomorrow. I'll practice it tomorrow and we'll work out what happens. Anyway, so it has been fantastic. I shall see you for the last day of school tomorrow, and I hope this wasn't too long. 1 hour and 22 minutes, pretty decent time for a tutorial to go. But we've done well, and we should be proud of ourselves because we're hard workers. I shall see you, I think, at this point, first day back at school, brand new term. You have a very good holiday, and I'll see you then, mate. Bye bye.